Hello everybody, I'm Corey with the Ugly Bug Fly Shop and Crazy Rainbow Fly Fishing, and today we're going to go ahead and start our part 4 series on jig hook nymphs. So today we're going to go ahead and tie one of my favorite blueing olive patterns that I use on the North Platte here during guiding season. Something kind of I personally tie and thought it'd be kind of cool as our part 1 to share this with you. So I'm going to kind of do a video material list, and I think it'd be kind of cool to explain to you why I like to use the materials that I do. So first, let's start with the hook. I'm going to use this Firehole 516. This is one of my favorite jig hooks to use, basically because I tie a lot of these for the guide season, and these are $7.25 for 36 of them. There is some hooks out there that might be a little bit more reliable as far as strength goes, but you're going to pay 14 or 15 bucks for 25 of those. So for affordability's sake and the amount of hooks that I get, those are perfect for me. Number 2, we're going to go ahead and use a 7/64 2.8 millimeter hairline slotted tungsten bead. This is going to be in copper. This is one of my favorite colors for the bluing olive pattern for this pattern that I'm tying tonight. Third, we're going to go ahead and go with the tail. So for the tail, you can use a couple different things, and I've used a couple different things. I've used some grizzly hackle fibers to make the tail, but today, because I really love this material, it's a little bit harder to work with, mainly because it's so slippery when you start trying to tie it in. But is some CDL, and I'm going to use this, and this is the barred speckled. It's much lighter than the other CDL that you might have seen, but this is my favorite for the bluing olive pattern. And fourth, we're going to go ahead and use hand stripped Polish quills. If you have not used these and you tie with a lot of quills, these things are incredible. You can soak them. I have been soaking them for not very long. They say 30 minutes in lukewarm water, but I've tied with these without soaking them, and the amount of breakage that I have with these is pretty incredible. So this is what I'm tying the body with. This color is olive that I'm using. Comes in purples and all kinds of stuff. Those things are amazing. And then for the wing case, I'm going to go ahead and use some of this classic 6905 flash boot. Stuff's amazing. You really, if you're a fly tyer, you need to have this stuff laying around. It should be in your top 10 materials to buy. For thread, I'm going to use a black 70 denier in ultra thread, and then for the body, and just for my other thread, I'm going to use a 70 denier in olive. So we're going to change up from threads for sealing the body. So I like to seal my Polish quills, or these quills, after I tie them in. I'm going to go ahead and use some Solaries. This is the thin hard. This stuff is incredibly tack free when you hit it with the light. Pretty cool. If you guys have watched some of the videos I've done in the past, I've always used Loon. This Solaries is pretty incredible. Something to kind of think about. I still love my Loon, don't get me wrong, but for tack free, this has been my favorite so far. It's perfect, guys. So just want to kind of go over the materials I was going to use today with you. We're going to go ahead and jump right into it and start tying this thing up. Hello everybody, and we're back. So I went ahead and went over my material list with you guys, and now we're going to go ahead and tie this sucker up. Couple quick things I want to point out. So as you can tell, I put lead, well, not lead, it's lead free wire wrap in 0.015 on this guy. The reason why I do that is for 2 reasons. One, I want that added weight. And why I try to do that is because when I'm guiding, I try to minimize my usage of split shot so that it doesn't create a pivot point in my rigs with my clients, which in turn leads me to having less tangles in my clients' rigs. So I go pretty heavy with these. I did a lot of research on measuring my rigs with different size tungsten beadhead jigs, and I've come up with a formula that works for me to kind of match the weight with what I would usually use on non-tungsten beadhead nymphs and split shot. So kind of a cool thing I've been playing around with for a couple years. But another thing it does is it keeps this beadhead in place. If you don't, that slotted beadhead will tend to move all over the frickin' map while you're trying to tie, and that kind of I don't like that. I like it to be nice and still. So let's go ahead and start here. We're gonna go ahead and wrap this guy right up in here. Perfect. Just gonna throw some thread wraps in there. I'm gonna get it back a little ways, a little farther than I think I need to. And then we're going to go ahead and grab our CDL. I'm going to take maybe 5 or 6 or so of these. Could probably go a little bit more with the CDL depending on how you want it to be. I'm pretty big about feel, and then just throw a couple of loose wraps in there. Don't get crazy, because this stuff will make you pay for it. And as you can see, I actually have a couple that didn't cooperate, but I still really like where I'm at there. I'm gonna go ahead and pull it a little further in. Work these up on top of the hook shank there. There we go. That's where I like it. Let's go ahead and pull these suckers down. There we go. Nice and tight. Cut those, trim those off. And that's about where I want my tail. Maybe like a hook gap or a little bit more. Now I'm going to kind of bring this back. What you want to do, number one, is you don't want to get so far back here that you're gonna force these down. So I am about maxed out. I'm gonna grab my quill here. I've had it soaking since I just threw it in right before I started the video, so these Polish quills don't really need to be soaked too long. Go ahead and tie this sucker in, and go ahead and give it some wraps. Now that I got this in there, one thing I'm gonna for sure do is kind of build up this body. So I want a pretty smooth transition into this lead without making the body too big, right? I want it kind of shaped like a nice carrot. We're gonna come back to there one more time and go forward, and we should be golden. There we go, like it. Okay. Now grab this bad boy here with your hackle pliers, and we're gonna start wrapping forward. Oh, I grabbed it a little too far up. These things are pretty durable, but if you grab them a little too far up, you are gonna break it. So go ahead and start wrapping this guy. You want to start back as far back as you can without forcing those quills, those CDL feathers down. Whew. This guy's really taking me for a loop here. I sure hope we have enough. Go ahead and wrap this. I'm sure we will. I'm sure it'll be just fine. Try to be as easy as you can on these things. Don't like how that laid out. Gonna go ahead. I can be kind of crazy about how I want these to lay out, and that looks really good to me. Go ahead and lock this in with some thread wraps so that it doesn't go anywhere. And now this is the part where I feel a little bit better, because that's in. And that's the most nerve-wracking part for me, is getting those things in there and having that nice tapered body. So let's go ahead and take our Flashaboo here, and there's always like a little hole. Let's see if I can show you. It's right here. See that little hole that's kind of left right in the slotted bead? Take the end of your Flashaboo and stick it in there, and it'll end up exactly where you want it. Okay, don't need to get too crazy with the thread wraps on this. I'm gonna go a little back there. I want a little bit more of a thorax on this thing. That's too much. I want it about right there. Build it up. Perfect. We're gonna go ahead and pull the Flashaboo over the top and throw a couple of spins of thread in there and cut this thing off as flush as you can. If you can't, there's that little tab right there. And what we're gonna do is, when we whip finish this guy, I'm gonna go over the top of the bead so that it slides down right kind of where I want it to go. There we go. There we go. I like that. I like that. Perfect. There it is. Perfect. Alright. So there's our body here. Next step here is to go ahead and get your solar ease here and put on a nice layer here. This. And it looks like I got a little bit of something sticking up here, so I'm going to try to trim it. Got it? Okay. Then I'm going to come down here and put a little line there and a little line there. Grab my little spreader tool here. And I'm just going to start spreading this around evenly on this guy. Okay. It's kind of been fun. I haven't tied these since last year. Kind of been fun. You know, I've been tying a lot of bigger saltwater stuff from my saltwater trip. You know, we just ended with my saltwater series, and I've been tying all these bigger things, and I just got done tying these big old deals for rooster fish for one of our guide buddies that's going to go try to catch some roosters. So jumping right back into these guys has been kind of crazy for me. Let's go ahead. I'm going to zap this thing just really quick. Okay. Perfect. And then there's a little spot in here I want to fill, so I'm going to just hit some UV here on my tool, and I'm just gonna fill that spot in, build myself almost like a little wing case bubble, just like that. Blast this, and look at that. I'm actually going to, can kind of be a little anal about these things, so I'm gonna fix this up just a little bit on this side, like here. There he goes. There we go. Taper it off. There it is. And what that does, you build up that bubble with that UV, and it kind of like exaggerates the flash a little bit that you put on there. Just really zap this thing with our little lightsaber tool here. And then this solary stuff is just awesome. I mean, it just seals right up. Boop, tack free. Perfect. There it is, guys. A blue wing olive quill nymph on a jig hook. Kind of my little, I love this thing. I fish this a lot when I'm guiding, when the blue wings are coming off. So All these materials are available at www.crazyrainbow.net. If you have any questions, feel free to send me a message, Facebook, Instagram, even call the fly shop if you want. So thank you so much for all the support and all the views that I get with my little series that I've been doing here. And yeah, you guys take care, have a great night, stay warm out there.